In a gripping development in the national capital, law enforcement has apprehended a cyber criminal, Madhav Singh. He is accused of a sinister scheme targeting women. Now, according to police reports, Madhav Singh allegedly wielded digital tools to manipulate women's images, crafting objectionable content he then used as a weapon to threaten public exposure on social media. His audacious plot aimed to extort a staggering 5 lakh rupees from his terrified victims, ensnaring them in a web of blackmail fueled by fear and shame. Further investigation unveiled the chilling scope of his operation as Madhav Singh maneuvered through an intricate network of social media aliases to evade detection. He is now in police custody. The authorities have seized the incriminating photos, but this entire incident, it not only raises many pertinent questions, but it also includes how to protect yourself from cybercrime. We'll try and find those answers. I'm currently joined by my guests at this point, Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP. I also have Mr. Mukesh Chaudhary. He's the founder and the CEO of CyberOps. I also have Brinda Adige. She's a social activist as well as a women's rights activist. Thank you, everyone, for joining this conversation, and we'll try and find answers to many questions. I would like to start with Dr. Vikram Singh. Sir, given your experience, how well equipped do you believe that the current police forces are to handle such sophisticated cybercrimes involving image manipulation and extortion?
Good question. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Brindaji. I would say that the police are reasonably well prepared, but the ecosystem of cybercrime is such that it has absolutely terrifying proportions. The basic requirement, if I were to commit a robbery, I require a rifle, ammunition, masks, and informers to tell me where the cash is in a bank. But for a cyber criminal, he just has to have cyber tools, a SIM card, and a basic degree of IT proficiency, and that's about all. And look at the loot, 5 lakhs per person. And to say that, yes, perhaps the preparation of the police in a scale of 1 is to 10, which was almost 0, or about 4 out of 10. But we have miles to go before we sleep, because the incidence of cybercrime, the manner in which the predators are roaming about, the snakes in the grass, it is not the question of just one Madhav Singh. There are Madhav Singhs in every locality, in every society. Make no mistake about it, Mr. Osama, and you and I and everybody is vulnerable, especially women. The precautions during the course of our interaction, I'll tell you what precautions need to be taken. No rocket science, basic cyber hygiene, the basic precautions, and unnatural familiarity breeds contempt. You should not try to be friendly with totally unknown people, and there is no reason to fall in a trap. Men fall into trap, men get into honey trapping, women fall into such kind of prey, and there are photo shopping and photo morphing tools available. Almost criminals go about and morphing pictures. And my last advice to ladies would be, don't succumb to blackmail ever. The police are your friends. Intelligent and sharp social workers like Brinda Adige ji are at your beck and call, and they will be by your side to help you. No questions asked, no names asked, and no addresses asked. But yes, there will be an action taken so that, like Madhav Singh, a befitting reply is given to all these cyber perverts. Mr. Osam.
Right. Very well said, sir. In fact, let me ask this question to Mr. Mukesh Chaudhary. Sir, what advice would you give to the women who may be vulnerable to such cyber crimes?
Good evening, everyone. See, there are multiple advice, starting with social media profiles, basically, because there are many women who approach other profiles, or sometimes the male profiles approach women, sometimes to the girls, sometimes to the married women, sometimes to the women who are not in any relationship. Recently, they have been divorced or they have broken their relationship, and they are more vulnerable at the time. So, meanwhile, when you talk to them, because I have seen multiple cases wherein people who are from foreign countries like UK, US, Nigeria, Pakistan, they approach Indian citizens and then they ask them that, okay, we want to do friendship with you and I earn this much and I am living a healthy lifestyle here and I will send you money. And in return, either they will ask them their photographs, then they start blackmailing them. There was one guy who was from Pakistan that this was a case way back in 2013, I guess, and I was handling it. And there was a guy who used to blackmail a lady, and she was doing masters, and her nude videos were being captured and were being uploaded on porn websites, and that guy used to earn money out of it. So this way, there are multiple ways wherein, like, because the blackmailing, once it gets started, it will never be stopped. So first of all, women should be very much careful making a friend online when you don't know the person physically, where he lives, where is he from, and sharing any picture to any friend over WhatsApp or any media, any internet medium is not recommended. Any personal image, especially private images, should not be shared across. There are multiple cases wherein private images are shared across over this internet. In relationship, later on the relationship is not going well, or they break up their relationship, and the guy then start uploading those images over the internet to blackmail or to harass the lady. Yeah. So internet images should not be shared over the internet. Profile should be make private, but in case it is not, because not everyone is going to make their profiles private. So again, decent picture should be uploaded. You should have privacy on your profile. Certain friends and family members should have access to your images and content. Not everyone should have access. Like Facebook provides this feature, Instagram is not providing it. And in case you have sent certain picture, maybe like WhatsApp provides this feature, you can send the picture and ask the other person at the other end. Sometimes we feel that this is a one-time view only, but the person can take the screenshot as well as record the screen at the same time.
True.
So these features are not for your private images or private content. So you should very much be careful about it.
Absolutely. In fact, Brinda Adige, when you talk about gender-based cyber violence, how do you see such incidents contributing to the broader issue of gender-based violence in the age that we are living in this digital age? Brindaji, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. So the gender-based cyber violence is also encouraging offline violence, street violence,
True.
Violence probably in institutions. So all of that said, we are again and again only telling women that you need to protect yourself. Now, we are not questioning what are the systems and mechanisms in place after a case is registered. We are also not giving education. Is this the kind of education that we extend to all the women? Do we talk about this to everybody? Because even today we find that talking about safety, precaution, being prudent, all of that is fine. But where is that education and information and message going to say that no photo that you upload in any of the social media ever gets deleted?
Yeah.
It is floating there for, sadly, eternity. Now, that is something that must go very clearly into everybody's heads. Somewhere they think that if they delete it on their system or they delete it on their phone, it's gone and, you can close your eyes and forget about it. It isn't. Now, that is the kind of information that must be given immediately to children in the school, in the colleges, and it must be information that is freely available and constantly told to people. So it must go on a mission mode, A. B, when there is a complaint registered, how long does it take for the police to actually go onto the net and delete wherever possible? Because you can still find it on the dark web. That is secondary. Because all of that in my country, in our country, patriarchy is so strongly entrenched that these kind of photos which are sensitive in nature, or even morphed photos, it may not be the woman's real body, it is morphed. That is what is the fear that women have, saying, everybody is now going to see it. My family is going to look at it. I'm going to get married. Somebody else in my family is getting married. So the threat continues.
Yeah, true.
So that means we need to go again 10 steps behind to ask, what are my courts doing to instill that fear of law?
In fact, there is also this side that there is stigma associated with it, and empowering the victims is very, very important. What I want to ask you, Brinda Adige, is how can the society shift the narrative to empower these victims rather than stigmatizing them in cases involving such manipulative private content?
This is going to be a long drawn battle for all of us, but we have to begin with education.
Yeah.
Where do our textbooks talk about it? They don't talk about it. Our textbooks even today continue to hold that woman responsible, somewhere subtly or tacitly placing the blame for that crime committed on her as if it is her mistake, as if she asked for it or she provoked it. So until and unless we change this narrative, we will not be able to say, this is how you can protect yourself and here is the law. Also, the IT law is not too strong. I'm sure our expert over there would tell us that the laws are not too strong. At least not as strong as I would like to see in our country, what we see in other countries like China and Korea. So that is a job that my government has to look at. My parliament must immediately look at. Next, we come to what are my courts doing? Because if the courts don't address this on literally fast track, and when we are talking of fast track, we are talking of 3 to 6 months and nothing more. Because then there would be some confidence. People have to say, yes, the courts are looking at it. This is a time and age when we cannot keep talking about vacancies in court. We can't be talking about technology not available.
Yeah.
If my country can go to the dark side of the moon, they can jolly well get technology into the courts and into the police system. And lastly, start educating our children and our women and our families and communities. Something like this. You can't say don't post your photo, you don't do something like this. Everybody wants to post it. We want to tell them to be prudent. But when they do, we also have to tell them that report, and the mistake is not yours. You must not feel guilty. Report immediately, and the police must not be asking questions that are irrelevant to the case.
Absolutely.
And they have to be sensitive.
Dr. Vikram Singh, what I want to highlight here is, earlier, when these scams used to happen, it used to happen in bigger cities, in tier 1 cities, in metros, etc. What we are seeing right now is a drastic shift at the moment. You take the example of states like Jharkhand, places like Deoghar in Jharkhand, and Alwar and Jaipur and Jodhpur in Rajasthan. Then you have instances coming from Nuh in Haryana, cities like Mathura in Uttar Pradesh, etc. What I want to point out is that it's not just a metro city problem anymore. It's also spreading its wing to various other cities, including tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Absolutely, Mr. Osama. In the year 2010, when the first incidents of cybercrime entered the domain of crime and criminality, we thought that perhaps dismissed it. That will be another 25, 30 years. But the manner in which, like the COVID infection came in multiple proportions, now the cybercrime has become a tsunami, and it has outclassed in terms of turnover and magnitude all other crimes like robbery, dacoity, and all property offences. You very rightly mentioned the places like Nuh, Alwar, Mathura, Hathras, Jamtara. They are the epicenters of cybercrime because the simplicity and the ease of manner in which they can be able to commit the crime with absolute impunity. Vrindaji in his scholarly discourse has mentioned the two things: education, which is totally lacking here, the stranglehold of patriarchy, and the third, that the police have a long way to go. I did defend the police, but yes, in a matter of fact, I wish that Mukesh Chaudhary ji and others would take tutorials for the police and tell them that you better put up your act together, give a befitting example, and do the investigation professionally, put them in fast-track courts. But yes, it is now something like a pandemic. It is impossible to find a single family, Mr. Osama, which is not a victim of cyber crime. It may be those attacks in respect of the CBI, ED and others, or it may be pornographic, or it may be honey trapping. But it is impossible to find a single family that has not been a victim of cybercrime.
Absolutely. Let me take that to Mr. Mukesh Chaudhary there. Mr. Chaudhary, when you talk about the current social media scene in the country, are the current social media security protocols sufficient to detect and prevent such blackmail schemes, or do we need more advanced solutions? How do you look at it?
Currently, such solutions are not there. Implementation is not there with respect to social media, if it is concerned, because even though AI is penetrating into almost every field, so social media providers should come up with this solution. There are certain solutions for child pornography, at least. Social media, they detect child pornographic content, sender and receiver both, and they report to NGO called NCMEC in US, and then it is reported back to India and then from India to respective state and respective city and respective police station. So likewise, if child pornographic content can be detected, so other content related to like blackmailing contents related to women or obscene images or obscene other content related to adult also should also be detected, and it can also be identified and reported at the same time, so that the victim can be protected or can feel a sense of security by the respective authorities of the respective states and the country.
Right. Mr. Chaudhary, you mentioned AI and deepfake technology. What I want to understand from you is how challenging is it becoming for the cybersecurity experts to distinguish between the real and the altered digital content here?
So it totally depends, even though cybersecurity specialist or data security analyst or let's say forensic science laboratories, it totally depends on the way how professionally the content has been developed or how professionally the content has been created, whether it's an image or it's a video. There are certain tools available in the market who are ensuring that 90%, 97%, 95% detection ratio, that whether AI is implemented into it or not. But again, there are some easy tricks also. Someone can easily identify sometimes the lips are not in sync, sometimes the eyebrows are not in sync, sometimes the audio is not in sync, and hair movement or head movements. These are the easy tricks through which someone can easily identify it. But if it is made professionally, if the image is made professionally, because once the image is sent through WhatsApp channels, then the metadata of the content of the image will be completely deleted and removed. So it becomes quite complex in certain cases to identify whether the image is a deepfake image or it is a real one.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us and giving us your valuable inputs on this issue. In fact, the only thing that we have here is a message to everyone. Stay vigilant. Safeguard your personal images by limiting who can access them online, and do not share sensitive content with unverified contacts. More importantly, empower yourself with knowledge. Learn to recognize blackmail tactics and report threats to authorities immediately.